You ever sit down just for a second and your body relaxes, but your mind doesn't? You're on the couch, you finally stop moving, and within 10 seconds you feel it. This tight, irritated buzz that says you're wasting time. You scroll your phone but don't enjoy it. You watch a show but can't follow the plot. Even rest feels like a task you're failing. And the weird part is, you can be exhausted, genuinely running on fumes, and still feel guilty for taking a break, as if tired is not a valid reason to stop. Maybe you've had a day where you did a lot, but the moment you paused, your brain replayed what you didn't do. The email you didn't answer, the goal you didn't touch, the version of you that should be ahead. Or you promise yourself you'll rest after you earn it, but the finish line keeps moving. You'll take a break after one more thing, then one more thing, then another. And the rest never actually arrives, not because you don't have time, but because the moment you slow down, you feel exposed, like you're not allowed to be a person unless you're producing something. That guilt isn't proof you're lazy, it's data. It usually means your identity is wired to output. Somewhere along the way, doing got linked to being okay. When you're busy, you feel safe. When you're resting, you feel suspicious, like you're neglecting something, falling behind, letting people down, losing your edge. The behavior isn't random. It signals what your nervous system has learned to value, and most people misread it. They think, I just need better balance, or I need to stop being so hard on myself. But what's actually happening is quieter. Your self-worth has a shift schedule. Your mind treats rest like a threat because rest removes your favorite evidence that you matter. If you're not actively earning your place, you don't know who you are. That's where identity drift starts. Not dramatic, not obvious, just subtle. You become the person who's always on, always optimizing, always trying to justify your existence with progress. You don't even notice how you begin to measure your days by what you can point to, not what you felt, not what you healed, not what you noticed, just what you produced. And when your identity depends on production, rest doesn't feel like recovery. It feels like disappearing. And here's why it keeps feeling normal. The world rewards the exact pattern that's hurting you. Modern life is designed to keep you slightly behind and slightly stimulated. There's always another notification, another update, another comparison, another person who looks like they're doing more with less effort. The environment doesn't ask, are you okay? It asks, what's next? And if you've ever been praised for being driven, reliable, the one who always handles it, you learned early that pushing through gets attention and approval. So the struggle is common, but the outcome is costly. Because when guilt follows rest, you never truly come down. Your body sits still, but your system stays on alert. That's not rest. That's immobilized anxiety. Over time, it trains you to avoid stillness, because stillness is where the uncomfortable thoughts live. Fear of falling behind, fear of being ordinary, fear that without constant effort, you won't be enough. Technology quietly reinforces it too. Your phone doesn't just entertain you, it mirrors a world where everyone is always doing something meaningful. Someone's always learning, building, grinding, transforming. Even relaxation has become performative. If you rest, you feel like you're the only one not improving. And when a culture turns productivity into a personality, guilt becomes the price of stopping. Every day you're making trades, not mistakes. When you choose to rest but punish yourself during it, you're trading recovery for reassurance. You're trading peace for control. You're trading a calm nervous system for the temporary comfort of feeling responsible. And the hidden cost isn't just fatigue. The cost is self-trust. Because if you can't rest without guilt, you can't believe yourself when you say, I'll take care of me. You start to treat your own needs like inconveniences that must be justified. You only allow rest if it's medically necessary, or if you've reached a breaking point, or if you can frame it as strategic. That creates a relationship with yourself where you're always negotiating for permission. Project that forward 3 to 5 years, and it gets sharper. You'll look productive on paper, but you'll feel thin inside. You'll have momentum, but not joy. You'll be competent, but brittle. And the most dangerous part is how it affects your credibility with yourself. If your brain learns that you only slow down when you collapse, then collapse becomes the only doorway to rest. You don't just lose energy, you lose the sense that you're someone who can be trusted to live sustainably. That's the silent trade-off. You're buying short-term control with long-term instability. Most people think the problem is that they need to learn how to relax. That's not it. It's not about rest as an activity. It's about rest as a verdict. For a lot of people, resting triggers a trial in their head. Have you done enough? Are you allowed to stop? Are you still worthy if you're not producing? So they try to fix it with better schedules, better routines, better hacks. But the real issue isn't planning. It's the standard you're using to decide whether you deserve peace. Here's the quiet realization. Guilt during rest is rarely about time management. It's about identity management. You're not managing your hours. You're managing your image of yourself. The responsible one, the hard worker, the person who doesn't fall off. And if that identity is fragile, rest feels like a crack in the foundation. So the shift isn't, how do I rest more? The shift is, who am I when I'm not proving something? Most people interpret guilt as motivation. But guilt is not clean motivation. It's pressure. It's fear dressed up as discipline. And fear can push you far, but it can't make you whole. What actually matters is whether you can be consistent without being cruel to yourself, whether you can be reliable without being at war with your own humanity. A different standard isn't a better plan. It's not a new routine, not a perfect morning, not another system to follow. It's an internal rule. I keep promises to myself without needing panic to force me. Under that standard, the goal isn't maximum output. It's self-trust. It's reliability. It's being the kind of person who can move forward steadily and also stop without self-hatred. Life feels different under that standard. You're not constantly bargaining with your energy. You don't need to be in the mood to take care of yourself. You stop romanticizing burnout as proof of dedication, and you stop needing rest to feel like a reward you earned through suffering. Rest becomes part of who you are, not a prize you qualify for. And what's wild is how much calmer you get when your identity is no longer tied to constant proving. You still work, you still build, you still take responsibility, but you're not driven by the fear of falling behind. You're guided by a quiet steadiness. I do what I said I'd do, and I also respect the limits of a real human body. That standard doesn't make you softer. It makes you more stable, more consistent, less dramatic, and in the long run, more effective, because you're no longer leaking mental energy into self-punishment every time you pause. What this requires isn't heroic effort. It's the unglamorous ability to tolerate discomfort without turning it into a crisis. Because when you stop and the guilt rises, your instinct will be to earn your way out of it. Clean something, start something, just knock out one quick thing. Real change looks quieter. You notice the guilt and you don't obey it. You let that anxious voice talk and you don't give it the steering wheel. That's hard in a boring way, not intense, just repetitive. You'll feel resistance. You'll feel impatience. You'll feel like you're being irresponsible. And none of that means you're doing it wrong. It means your system is adjusting to a new definition of safety. One small, unglamorous action that reinforces this standard is choosing to rest without making it productive. No background podcast to justify it. No multitasking. No turning your break into a self-improvement project. Just 10 minutes where you sit, breathe, and let your body come down, even while your mind protests. The point isn't comfort. The point is teaching yourself that you don't have to perform to deserve a moment of peace. Over time, that repetition rebuilds something most people don't realize they've lost: internal credibility. You become someone who doesn't abandon themselves the second guilt shows up. And when you can do that consistently, your discipline gets cleaner. Your work gets more focused. Your rest becomes real. Not because you found the perfect method, but because you adopted a different standard for how you treat yourself when nobody is watching. So here's the question that doesn't resolve neatly, and it shouldn't. When you finally stop moving and the guilt shows up, what does it say about who you believe you are without your productivity?